Another pain point that is bothering consumers, which is the prices of tomatoes. Now, tomatoes are as expensive as 180 rupees per kg in certain parts of Delhi and NCR, and the prices are likely to remain high. There are reports, of course, coming in that the prices could get even further higher as unseasonal rainfall, or rather rainfall that is lashing parts of northern India, particularly Delhi, NCR, Himachal and Uttarakhand. But all of that could also mean that the crop that was sown would come down, which eventually means that there'll be more tomatoes in the market. Prices could come down.
Shweta, I liked that report when it came out. In fact, this came out in FE this morning. And somehow it seems to be a little counterintuitive given the rain situation and the flood situation in both Himachal and Uttarakhand. Now, of course, prices by, let's say, the 30th of September, 30th of June, if I remember correctly, had already surged to about 100 rupees a kg from about an average of 20 to 25 rupees a kg. So, prices had gone up about 4 times. And then we saw the rally pretty much like the stock markets in the tomatoes as well. And in some parts of the country, Ahmedabad, for example, we reported on Friday, tomatoes were selling for 250 rupees upwards per kg. Come back to Delhi, I think it has now settled to about 140, 150, but it had reached a peak of about 180 as well. But reports now suggest that the next 2 to 3 weeks could see some fresh stock coming from Himachal and Uttarakhand.
Okay.
And that should hopefully keep prices under check. But again, look at the rain situation. There is flooding both in Uttarakhand and Himachal. We've seen the landslides in Kulu, Manali. We've seen the kind of flooding in Haridwar where so many pilgrims who are on the Kawad Yatra have actually drowned and lost their lives. So overall, it's not just bad news for the supply chain of tomatoes, which remember is a perishable commodity. It can't stay in warehouses or in transportation or in a wet scenario for a very long time because they're just going to rot. And when they rot, there's no point getting them into the mandi. But with this whole flood situation, there is a great likelihood of the tomato crop actually getting rotten in the warehouse itself before it makes its way to Delhi, NCR or anywhere else in the country for that matter.
Right, and some of these passes that have been closed down due to rainfall and landsliding, of course, as you mentioned, in Himachal, in Uttarakhand, are also crucial passes for freight movement, which essentially means that tomatoes, as you pointed out, will not come here. It's a perishable commodity and they will likely perish if the roads remain blocked.
Exactly. So if the roads remain blocked, if the rain continues unabated like the way it has continued, I see it may get further delayed if at all any good crop makes it at all. So reports are suggesting 2 to 3 weeks is when we could see prices ease.
Softening.
But I'm not sure. I think it's going to be softening of the tomatoes itself rather than softening of prices. So I think as consumers, as citizens, we should brace ourselves for prices to continue in the territory they're in.
Right. So prices will likely remain high in the territory of almost upward of 200 rupees per kg. There is no likelihood of prices going down anytime soon. Of course, conflicting reports coming in there in the newspapers. But from what we're picking up right now in northern India, in western India, unabated rainfall continue to hamper prices and continue to hamper sentiments of homemakers and chefs who are hoping to use tomatoes in days to come.